Making our cities more sustainable is at the heart of our concerns and current affairs. At a time when global warming is on the rise, Amsterdam is becoming an example of a green city in Europe. Indeed, its commitment to sustainability, green innovation, and environmental protection has made it a role model, not least thanks to the use of various technologies. That's why in this video, we invite you to explore how the Dutch city has become a leader in ecology. Amsterdam is considered one of Europe's greenest capitals, but what are its secrets? The changes began in 2009 with a project called Amsterdam Smart City. Its aim is to use technological innovations to make the city sustainable. At the same time, it was decided to reduce the city's CO2 emissions by 40% by 2025, and to become the first European city with zero CO2 emissions by 2050. To make Amsterdam an ecological model, 6 aspects were chosen: housing, public facilities, tourism, mobility, work, and open data. The first point is housing. After a survey, it was discovered that housing accounts for a third of the city's CO2 emissions. It was therefore essential to improve this area. To change this, it was decided to install smart meters that would enable energy consumption to be measured and regulated in real time. For future construction, the city also wants to draw inspiration from the GWL Terrain District, which is a true benchmark. This district was built between 1996 and 1998 on the disused site of a former water treatment plant. In fact, it was the first urban project in Europe to be 100% pedestrianized. It comprises 600 homes, all made from recycled, environmentally friendly materials. What's more, by 2030, 2 million people, 1/8 of the country's population, will be living in Amsterdam. Yet, the city is already saturated, so there's no room for expansion. Instead, investing in disused areas and building new residential districts on the water seems to be the key. This district is a real source of inspiration, but it's not the only one. For example, since 2013, the De Soevel project has been turning disused boats and barges into new places to live and work. Boats are renovated and then placed on a quay. The GWL Terrain District brings us to a second essential point: public facilities. Many ideas and experiments have been put forward. One example is Climate Street. The aim is to make Utrechtse an extremely popular shopping street, more sustainable. To achieve this, better regulation of the heating and cooling systems in consumption areas, such as shops and restaurants, has been introduced. But that's not all. There's also a night lighting system that activates only when you walk past it. The aim here is to control energy costs associated with the day-to-day running of the shopping street. The city also boasts a number of sustainable boutiques, selling organic food and second-hand clothing. One example is the In-Stock Association. Did you know that in Europe, almost 100 million tons of food end up in the garbage can every year? That's why In-Stock has opened up a restaurant in the Dutch capital where meals are prepared using surplus food. Over the past 4 years, the restaurant team estimates that it's used around 480,000 kilograms of food. Hotels in the region are also known for their strict ecological policies. In this way, the city is promoting more responsible tourism, the third of the 6 aspects addressed to make Amsterdam greener. And this applies to all aspects: accommodation, mobility, preservation of natural resources. An international sustainability certificate has been introduced, known as Green Key. More than half the hotel beds in Amsterdam have this certificate. In particular, it covers the reduction of gas, water, and energy consumption. European capitals are often very popular. While this has economic benefits, it's also a problem. Especially, it's a threat to cultural heritage, local quality of life, and the environment. That's why Amsterdam has decided to reduce the number of visitors by imposing a quota. A better distribution of tourists across the metropolis has also been introduced to protect the city center. What's more, it's also been shown that 3/4 of tourist CO2 emissions come from transport. Transport is therefore a key factor in making the city more sustainable. Amsterdam is known as the city for bicycles. In fact, it's the most bicycle-friendly capital city in the world. It boasts 400 kilometers of bike paths, as well as 100 kilometers of canals and 1,500 bridges, making it easy to get around. Nearly 40% of all journeys in the city are made by bike, and the average Dutchman pedals almost 880 kilometers a year. What's more, there's a total of 225,000 bicycle parking spaces, including 10,000 around Central Station. But in Amsterdam, citizens want to go further. Sales of sustainable bicycles are on the rise. For example, bamboo bicycles made in Ghana and respecting the values of responsible and fair trade are all the rage. But Amsterdam's smart city isn't just about bikes. Motorized mobility accounts for 1/3 of CO2 emissions. We quickly realized that most mobility is work-related. As you already know, traffic jams, for example, occur most of the time during rush hour, when people are leaving or returning from work. Solutions had to be found to shorten the journey between work and home. The Smart Work Centers initiative was born. The aim is to dot the city with workspaces where any employee can come and work. It's an initiative that's becoming increasingly common in the rest of Europe. Since they're scattered all over Amsterdam, the distance between home and work is reduced, so there's less congestion and less pollution. It also enables a functional mix. This means that there are no longer zones dedicated to specific activities, and the different parts of the city are connected and easy to access. In addition to bicycles, public transport is also given pride of place. What's more, they're powered by green electricity, while boats run on natural gas. But above all, electric cars are on offer. There are over 2,000 public charging points for electric cars, boats, and bicycles throughout the Dutch capital. In October of 2014, 1,840,000 kilowatt-hours were recharged through public charging points in Amsterdam, the equivalent of 13 round trips to the moon. On the train front since 2010, Thalys trains have been running between Paris and Amsterdam, with a maximum speed of 300 kilometers an hour and a journey time of around 3 hours. Visiting the Dutch city has never been easier. Fully electric cabs have also been introduced, as have free river shuttles. The capital's airport is also trying to become more sustainable. This includes green transport within the airport and between the city and the airport. Open data is also in the spotlight. But what is it? Basically, it refers to a program of urban governance based on the management, aggregation, and redistribution of public data. To make this more sustainable, 2 projects were highlighted. The first is a website called amsterdamopent.nl, and the second is a mobile application called Apps for Amsterdam. The aim is to give citizens access to public information, especially on ecology and global warming. It's important to note, however, that the projects implemented in these 6 sectors are not all to the same degree. Smart Work Centers, for example, stand out from the other projects. They're fully operational and integrated into the city's operations. But more needs to be done on the housing front, for example. Even if Amsterdam is an example for the rest of Europe and the world, it should also be remembered that the Dutch cities project cannot be exported to all cities. The project succeeded because many experts worked on it. What's more, the city had the opportunity to invest heavily. Amsterdam, by becoming the green capital of Europe, has not only demonstrated that this environmental protection is possible, but also inspires us to follow its example. This transformation did not happen by chance, but is rather the result of a clear vision, innovative policies, and the commitment of its inhabitants to a more sustainable future. The capital also shows us the importance of technology, as the city of tomorrow will need to be more efficient in its operation, but also less wasteful and more environmentally conscious.